beneficial constituents and that it is free of contaminants and adulterations. Because at doTERRA, we know the same care and attention, as well as the same commitment to only provide the very best, is not unique to us. They're the same qualities you employ when taking care of those you love the most.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our TVE Global webinar. Good to see we've got quite a few people on with us already this evening. My name's Andy Boswell, and well, I'll shortly be introducing you to Lisa Burke, who will be taking the bulk of this particular training. We've got a great panel and a training lined up for you all this evening, which I'm sure you're all aware about. So, without further ado, as always, let me just bring up the recognition and bits and bobs that we have to do. Not always have to do, always want to do, of course, each week. Okay, so to start with, we have always, as we always do at this particular point, we go through the recognition for February so far. We're only on the 10th of February, but there's been some fantastic recruitment activity already that's been going on. So just with a month to date so far, up to the 10th of February, we have got with 2 enrollments so far. Congratulations to Alison Thomas, Mariette Grobler, Adele Muller, Angela Jeffries, and Jason Belveston. And with 3, congratulations all the way over there in Germany to Michael Schneider and Claudia Berend-Herms. With a whopping 4 enrollments so far, only 10 days in, congratulations to Anna Ahido, Kirsty Lucius, Neil Young, and Lisa Burke. And top of the shop at the moment with a whopping 6 new enrollments. Big congratulations to Vicky Gotham. Okay, some of you may have heard about this. This has been on some of the social media groups. Elise Sedavi, who I believe, I'm reliably informed, is way up there in our upline. A lady from America is coming to the UK, yep, the UK, for a 3-day event on the from the 19th to the 21st of March, and that is in the Heathrow area around London. As you can read there yourself, it's really a back to basics thing over 3 days. If you're serious about your business and you really want to get it kicked off to a fantastic start, or even if you've been in the business for a while, would highly recommend getting along there. Now, you can go and search this. If you go and search Elise Sedavi on Eventbrite, I'm sure you'll find it, you know, the Eventbrite normal pages. So if you put that into Google, otherwise, if you want to put in the tinyurl.com address and just follow it with W9S3ZVL, that's a shorter link than the long one that they give you on there. But I'm sure we'll be putting this in the groups as well very, very soon. So keep an eye out for those. Now, of course, we have also, and we haven't really been, well, we did a big promotion last year, but we haven't really been mentioning this year so much. The doTERRA European Convention, of course, is on the 8th and 9th of May. Only 3 months away. I was already phoning up today trying to get the dog booked in kennels for this one because, you know, a lot of us are taking a few days extra out there as well. We're certainly going to be there looking at the Coliseum. With I know Peter Rear I was speaking with on Facebook earlier this week. We're definitely going to be going. So a few people are making a bit of a trip of it. Make sure that you book your place. If you've not been to one of these before, they are unbelievable events. The first year we were involved, they had one in London at Excel. Last year it was in Dusseldorf. This year it's in Rome, so it's a real one if you want to pack in those sites as well. It's on the Friday and the Saturday, the 8th and 9th of May. 130 euros per ticket, and you know they will sell bucket loads of those. I mean, I would imagine it's going to be somewhere in the region of 7,000 to 9,000 people. It's the largest event that is held outside of the United States, outside of Utah, where they have their big international one, obviously, each year. So for those of us in Europe, make sure that you put that one in your diary. You know, we'd love to spend some time with you there, and speak to some of your sponsors as well to find out where they'll be staying too. Okay. We've obviously got our online classes this week. We're working on the basics of it. We have 3 live events on a Tuesday at 7 p.m, Thursday at 11 a.m, and Saturday at Saturday the 16th at midday. These are all GMT, of course. And all you've got to do, if you've got anybody that's interested who wants to find out more about our essential oils, we've got a presentation on their live presentation. They can look in 20 minutes before the start, of course, at that domain, learntheessentials.info. That's learntheessentials.info. Make sure you're getting your people there. You know, we take all the hard work and do it all for you. All you've got to do then is obviously follow up to see if they're interested. Now, that's pretty much done for me. We're not going to have any oil stories this week. We really want to go over to Lisa with the panel. So if I just stop sharing that, Lisa. You haven't switched your button on. No. Let me have a quick look. Something's gone wrong at your end there, Lisa, by the looks of it. Just making sure my speakers are turned up here. You're showing your microphone is off. Can anybody else hear Lisa, or is it just me?
No, I can't hear her either.
We can't hear you.
No.
This could
Yes.
be really,
Yes.
I can't hear her either.
okay, this could be really interesting this evening. Now, I don't think moving in another room is going to help, Lisa. I've got to tell you.
Yeah, like Michelle says as well, maybe logging out and in might work. Usually does the trick.
Say again?
Like Michelle says as well, logging out and back in might do the trick.
Yeah, I think it may be. Hopefully you can hear us, Lisa.
That's what you get for going away.
I haven't been away, and it's me that's got to hold this together while she's trying to sort it out. Right. You waving ain't going to help. Trust me.
He's logging out, I think.
I think so. Right, okay, now, you guys, you've got to have a certain amount of sympathy for me here, okay? Now, I can see Nigel Peacock on here. Hi, Nigel, how are you? Now, I know Nigel, I recognise Nigel from our old network days. And, of course, Nigel, I would imagine, have you been trying the oils, Nigel? You've only just started with us, haven't you? You've been trying? Do you want to unmute yourself for us?
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you. I'm going to pick on you just because I saw you at the top of the Hello, nice to see you again. I was going to just ask you, I was going to pick on somebody. I thought, well, we often do oil stories at this particular stage. I would imagine, how long have you been in there, Nigel?
3 weeks today.
3 weeks. You've been using the oils. Now, I'm taking a chance here because I don't know anything about you, whether you've been trying it. Please don't turn around and say, well, they're still in the box, so I haven't tried any yet. Have you got any particular oil stories, any particular success, your own personal ones that you've actually...
Yeah, I had a headache and I used a peppermint, and I noticed, or 10 minutes later, I hadn't got a headache. So I found that was very good. I'm using lemon in my water now, drinks, so yeah, just beginning to get the hang of it all now.
Good, and you just try the lavender yet?
Yes, I've been diffusing lavender. So it's, yeah.
Yeah, that's absolutely brilliant. I know certainly when I got involved, certainly through the stresses of our previous network, which I'm sure you can appreciate, lived through that with me as well. I was suffering a lot with stress and anxiety. Yeah. You said to me, just try.
Can you hear me?
Oh, she's back now.
Oh, wow. The wonders of technology.
We were in the middle of a conversation there, but I can...
Sorry, carry on. Don't mind me.
No. You know, we're just, you know, padding. Thank you, Nigel. Anyway, I appreciate you stepping in for us.
That's fine, no problem, Andy. See you soon.
Back on. Right, okay. So you sorted it out now, have you?
Well, I don't know what was going on there. That was just a bit of techno. I'm actually in Spain, so maybe it was just a little bit of Spanish sort of. Yeah.
Okay. Well, we can hear you fine now. So
good.
You're in a good place in the house with plenty of connection. You're near the.
Yeah, I think we'll be good to go now.
Good. Okay, I'll leave it up to you.
Thanks, Andy.
Bye.
So yeah, if I can just add my vote, if you like, to the Elise Chedevi training. I'm hearing some amazing feedback from all around the world. I don't know how many of you on the call. Can you all hear me okay? Yeah?
I can hear you okay.
Can you still
Your
hear
video
me?
seems to have gone.
Yeah, still hear me.
It just came up and said network bandwidth is low. So if you
I think it's.
you can get yourself
I think
near
we
your
might
router or
have a
something.
little bit of a problem here, but hopefully we're going to get through this. So what was I saying? Elise Chedevi. If those of you that follow Elise, as Andy said, she is quite high in the upline. She's the only triple diamond in doTERRA, so she's the second highest earner in the company. And she, in January, you may have known, did a big training in Utah for thousands of people that came out, and everybody in Europe was saying, oh, it would be so amazing if Elise could come to somewhere in Europe. She actually lives in Prague, although she is American, but it would be really great because she's been to Europe and done any sort of training on a European-wide basis. So I'm told that this is like a one-off. She's just going to come once. She's such a busy lady. So as I say, the feedback has been amazing. I don't know how many of you are in any of the American groups that have been to a training, but people are sort of saying it's just like revolutionised their business. Now, do bear in mind that her training is pretty offline. So I know quite a few of you on the call have online business. So I think it's sort of worth, knowing that when you go along. But I think it's also good to learn those skills, even if the way that you are building the business is online. You never know who's going to join your business that may well be more interested in the offline side of the business. So there's always something to learn. I'm sure you'd agree from anybody's training, regardless of whether it is maybe a slightly different way to which you are running and building your business. So and there's also resources that Elise does. I've put them on my site, and I'm sure Andy has as well, but we can put them on again, where you can go and download every day a cloud recording of her training. And she has asked that anybody that goes to her training, if you can have listened to those SoundCloud recordings before, you'll get an even better experience, an even better grounding from those 3 days in London. So as I say, I can't recommend enough that you go to that. So on to our training topic tonight. So on that same topic with sponsoring and enrolling, we thought it'd be really great to invite some people from the team to take part in the call tonight in a sort of a panel environment. And I can't sort of stress enough how we want to make sure that these calls on a Monday are as interactive and as valuable as possible. We know that your time is precious and you give up your time to come onto these calls, and we want to make sure that you're getting enormous value from them and that we're answering your needs. So please use the chat during this panel discussion. If there's any questions that you have, or if there's anything particular that you'd like to know either about the subject that's being talked about, or that has sort of a connection to that subject, then please pop it in the chat, and we can we can sort of just have the sort of questions and answers as appropriately as we sort of go through the session. So I'm going to invite 3 amazing ladies onto the call. There's no reason that it's just all ladies, it just happens to be. It was actually going to be 4 people, and we did have a gentleman, Michael, was supposed to be on to balance things out a little bit, but unfortunately he is not too well, so he's not been able to. So it's just the ladies holding the fort tonight. So first of all, we've got Sue. So Sue is, as you all know, Andy's better half. And I'm not going to take too much away from you, because I'm going to ask you to introduce yourselves in your own words. But we all know and love Sue, and Sue with Andy runs a platinum business and has just done amazing things. And so we a really consistent enroller. So we're really interested to listen to you tonight, Sue. So I'll come back to you in a moment and ask you each to introduce yourself. And then we've got Michelle Marshall. Is Michelle there?
I'm here.
Yes, hi Michelle. So Michelle with her husband Daniel, again, I'm sure you all know Michelle. Michelle's gold in rank, flying up through the ranks, now a founder in South Africa. So that's really exciting. And we heard from Michelle on the call a few weeks ago talking about South Africa. And so we're really intrigued tonight to talk some more of you specifically on enrolling. So thank you, Michelle, for agreeing to be on the panel. And the third lady that I'd like to introduce you all to is Kim Elberg. Kim is actually from the Netherlands. Are you there, Kim?
Hey, I'm Lisa.
Kim is a silver. Hi, Kim. I'm amazing to have you on the panel tonight, especially because I think you're going to bring something a little different, because I know that, you know, being in the Netherlands, a little bit out there on your own, sometimes you've had to really, you know, do some sort of out of the box thinking in a sort of a different market, and that can sometimes, you know, be challenging on its own, but you've found ways to overcome that challenge and find your way sort of to go over the mountain rather than it becoming a stumbling block for you. So we're delighted to have you on the panel, and thank you for agreeing to be with us tonight.
Lovely to be here. Thank you for inviting me, Lisa.
Oh, you're welcome. So just if we can go back over that same order, and if I could just ask you, I know people on the call are probably very familiar with some of you and not familiar with all of you. So just a little bit about your background, your experience, the time it's taking you to get where you are, and just give us a little bit of a feeling about where you are in the business right now. So over to you, Sue.
Okay, well, good evening, everyone. Thank you for letting me come on here tonight to chat to everybody. So if you don't know, we joined sort of 2.5 years ago. We got to gold very quickly in the first month because we brought a lot of people with us from the previous network. And basically since that time, we've just worked it really hard, took it to platinum in a few months, and just ongoing. And roughly, I suppose, I think last year I brought in about 60 people. I like to go for an average of 1 a week. That seems to keep things flowing along nicely. And that's where we are, really. Andy does a lot of work online, and I do mine more offline. So we're kind of a combination of the two. I like to be face to face with people. So my stuff all is about really events and business networking is where I'm getting right.
And we're going to dig into that a little bit more. Because that's it's really interesting how you're taking sort of both angles, sort of with Andy more on online and you more with offline. So yeah, we'll definitely talk some more about that as the discussion evolves. So thank you, Sue.
Welcome.
And so Michelle.
Yes. So I'm Michelle, married to Daniel. We live up in Doncaster, which is up in Yorkshire, about half an hour from Sheffield. And we've been running our business just for a few weeks less than Sue and Andy. We joined around the same time. We were looking for a business opportunity, which is why we came to doTERRA. That's a little bit unusual as we grow our business, because people generally come for the oils and the health benefits of the oils, where we were looking for a business. So we built it quite quick initially. I say quite quick, it was steady. But we probably got to, I think we did Premier in Elite and Premier in the same month, about 7 months into the business. And then we went silver, let me think to get it right, November 2018, and then we went gold last year. So we've been gold now for quite a few months. And as Lisa mentioned, we've just got founders in South Africa in January. We heard that was the news, that we've qualified for a place.
Yeah, that's brilliant. We're so proud of you for that. And that was you were the first founder, weren't you, in South Africa?
There's 2 announced at the same time, so I'm not sure which name was announced first.
Well, in my eyes, you were the first.
Thanks, Lisa. I'll take it.
Brilliant. Fantastic. Thank you, Michelle. So, and Kim.
Hello, my name is Kim. Yeah, like Lisa just said, I'm from the Netherlands, so mind the dialect a bit. Yeah, we started November 2018, is it? Yes. And we went quite fast in the beginning as well. We hit Elite and Premier 2 months later, and hit Silver 8 months later, or 8 months in total after the start. So that is a bit our road so far. Now, I didn't quite join for the business. I have 2 little kids. I had lots of health issues, which I wanted to get covered first. Now, I do have the network marketing background, so I guess there wasn't a lot needed, but to get me into the business side of things, I mean. But in the situation I was in, it didn't seem like the right moment until that first experience, and I couldn't stop sharing. I started sharing without even intending to share. So that's quite a story from my end, I think. So
yeah. And what's quite interesting, Kim, although within our group, I know we've had quite a lot of people join us for the business, your experience is actually probably more typical of the doTERRA route. Yeah. Sort of the normally, if there's such a thing as normal, you know, people come and are attracted to the product, they have that amazing product experience, and then they, you know, can't keep it to themselves, they need to share it, and then the business progresses from there. So it's great to see on the panel we've got a variety of different ways in which you've been exposed to doTERRA. So that's amazing. So thank you for that. So yeah, on to my first question, and Sue touched on this in her opening, and we've had some discussions over WhatsApp about this in preparation for this call, because again, it's exciting that you've all come in from a little bit of a different place. So my question is, if you look at all the different ways that you can enroll people, and we know there's lots of different ways, whether it be fairs, classes, online, networking events, one-to-ones, etc., etc. Can you look at all of those ways and say there is one predominant way that you seem to enroll? So is there one particular standout method that seems to suit you, and what is it?
Okay, so as I say, I know exactly how many people that I brought on last year, and I've gone through and I know exactly where they've all come from, and it's a pretty even split, and it is, the split is between doing events and business networking. It's a pretty even split, so that's where mine come from.
So when you say events, like fairs? Or...
Yeah, fairs. So it might be vegan fairs, mind, body and soul events, pamper events, events where I'm going there and I'm setting up my table and engaging with people at the event. Okay,
amazing. Can I just sort of explore that a little bit deeper?
Yeah.
So you go along, is there a typical route that you take, a structure, or do you sort of feel each individual person and whatever sort of, you know, wherever the route, the sort of line takes you, you go down that line, or do you have a structure when you go to an event that you're looking to, you know, the objective in order to get people to the place of an enrolment?
Yeah, so there is a structure, there is a system that I stick to and teach downline. So it's all about the peppermint and wild orange experience.
Okay.
That's the first thing. And then it's about, we're here to encourage people to find out more about what these oils about, and then encouraging them to come on an online presentation, take their details on a sheet and go from there. So that's basically how the system would go. But I will, obviously, if they've got particular health issues that come up, and we'll cover those, we'll talk about those. But the thing to do is the peppermint and wild orange, get them booked into a class, or a one-to-one, and that's it.
And you do the peppermint and orange rather than giving them any kind of sample, or do you sometimes give samples if it was appropriate?
Sometimes, yeah, I've always got the samples wherever I go, whatever I do, I've always got samples, and I have got them there, but most times not. I mean, we was at an event this Sunday just gone, and Andy came with me on that one, and we didn't actually give out any samples, I don't think, that day.
Okay. And do you book people into your classes there and then, or do you follow them up afterwards to book them in?
So I take their details. They have a tick box on the sheet that we use, so they can choose which class suits them best. If none of the times suit them, we do have a recorded presentation. But I encourage people not to go that route unless they can really help it, because I fear that people will write that down and put it in a drawer somewhere and never do anything with it. So what we do is we take the details, and we then say that I will be sending you an email with the link for the class, and on the day of the presentation, and about an hour before we go live, I'll be sending you a text to remind you, because we all lead such busy lives. So there's two angles to go out there. Brilliant.
It just shows you, doesn't it, we should never take anything for granted when we're talking, because we've just got a question from Pauline, and she's just asked what the peppermint and orange is. So do you want to answer that?
Yeah, of course. I mean, I use it all the time wherever I go. I've always got my peppermint and wild orange. So I'll be at an event, for example. The one thing I usually say to people is, they're looking at the stall, they're drawn to your stall, and I'll say, do you know anything about essential oils? And you know, if they do, then that's really great, because they're going to know a huge difference when they experience ours. And if they don't, then it's a case of, can I tell you a little bit about these? And then I just ask them to offer me their hands. And in one hand, I put a drop of the orange and encourage them to smell that. And of course, it's beautiful. And in the other hand, they have a drop of peppermint. I explain to them that one drop is the same as 28 cups of peppermint tea. Encourage them to smell that. And then I get them to rub their hands together. So you need to do this later, Pauline, with these two oils. And then I encourage them to rub it round the back of their neck so that it can actually get to work on their neck while I'm chatting. And then I encourage them then to inhale the peppermint and wild orange from their hand. And 9 times out of 10, people are blown away by that.
Yeah, amazing.
That is the peppermint and wild orange.
Great. And just a little tip to add to that, I don't know whether you do this, but this always gets a lot of interest from people. When people have rubbed it onto the back of their neck, you know.
Oh, we've lost you. You're frozen.
Oh well, just you and me then, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, great. I'm sure we could think of something to discuss. So I'm not sure if you can hear us, Lisa. She's still looking like she's logged in, but it's completely dropped out of it. But so yeah, my mind was somewhere completely different at that particular time. I was just doing a little bit of work in the background here. So just talking about I heard peppermint and wild orange. But I'm sure you've got some other tips for people. I mean, other bits and bobs that you haven't marked down that Lisa's going to talk to you about.
Are you talking to me or going to the other?
Yeah, no, I'm going to you.
I think I've answered I think it's their turn.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I can do my bit. That's
Okay.
fine.
Over to you then, Michelle.
So I do the majority of enrolments. They come from online for me. I don't know if I mentioned it in the intro, but we've actually got 7 children. So our lives are very, very busy. Our schedules are really hectic. We needed something that was going to work around that. I also wanted something where I could just work from home, so that if any of the kids needed me, if they were sick, that I could just drop my commitments that I had and just to be there for them. So I do build my business. The majority of it is online. Initially, I did do a few classes in my home, and I had some friends and family over, and I did get enrollments from there. So that absolutely works. And if you're not sure how to do a class, like for my first one, I knew nothing about essential oils. I got no background in holistic health or anything like that. And so for my first class, the night before, I actually sat for about 2 hours and I watched Rebecca Bowles as she did a recorded class online. And I sat and watched that class, and I rewound it, and I wrote down the next sentence, and I rewound it, and I wrote down the next sentence. And I literally wrote it down word for word. And in my first class, I read it off the script word for word because I was so nervous, not having a clue what I was going to say. And I actually got an enrollment from that first class. So that immediately boosted my confidence that actually I can do this. Like, even if I have to read it, like I can really do this. So that was a good example to myself, really, that yeah, even something that was really well out of my comfort zone, I could run with it. We did do a little bit more on the online classes. We were knocked out of the business for a little while. We just had some life that happened, as it does. And yeah, so we had the need to be able to resort to going online and doing online things. So we started to run online classes. And so just like said, you know, we get people who book into those classes. We teach an online class all about the essential oils, teach them all about doTERRA, and then we would. This is South Africa based, and now that it's launched.
Okay, yeah, it's working again now. We did lose you. It started breaking up. Carry on.
No, not me as well.
I know. When it all goes wrong, eh? Yeah, you carry on.
So yeah, just saying that. So initially, I did do like the class on the ground. I did do the online classes, but once we started to build a team, and it was out in South Africa, we had to maintain the online class because I wasn't going to be able to fly there all the time to do live classes.
Oh. We're losing you there for a second, Michelle.
In the online ones, but then the rate is higher when we do an on the ground class compared to when we do an online class. So we have gone back to that way of doing the on the ground classes. But to be honest, we do a mixture of both. So we do some on the ground and we do some online, and it's just quite evenly spread. But we set our team a bit of a challenge that worked really, really well leading up to Christmas. And we just put like a little doTERRA droplet in our team group, and we set everyone a target to get as many points or as many classes or live events as we could before Christmas. And saw the little droplet fill up, the more events that got done, so everyone felt that they were contributing towards that droplet. We've started again, we've took it back to 0 in the new year, and already this year, as a team, we've done 100 live events. So whether that's a class or an event they've gone to, or a one-to-one, like face-to-face, like Zoom didn't count, it had to be face-to-face. But as a team, they collectively have done 100. And obviously that affects your enrolment rates. You know, your enrolment rates are going to skyrocket when you've got that many team members holding live face-to-face things.
Brilliant. Thank you.
Brilliant. I don't know, wait, can you hear me now?
We can hear you.
So I'm in the middle of a power cut, so that's the reason it's very dark, and I'm now talking to you on 4G. And Tony's gone running to the end of the street to see if he can work out why we've got no power. So, but I'll carry on talking to you on 4G. Oh dear. So Andy, what I can't watch out for the chat because I'm just on my phone. So if you can just watch out for that for me.
Will do.
Okay, thank you. So I think that was obviously Michelle was talking. I don't think were we keeping in the same order? Are we on to Kim
Yeah,
now?
it's just on to Kim now.
Yeah, brilliant. Okay, Kim, over to you.
Yes. Okay. So you want me to tell me how I
Let's talk about the main ways in which you're finding your enrollments
online?
online.
Yeah,
Okay.
pretty much 99.9% of my enrollments are online.
And is that online advertising, sponsored paid for advertising, or is it using your own communities?
It started off with online advertising. So I still do the online advertising, but it's lowered now because now obviously your page has built up, you're getting more interaction, people know where to find you. And that's a brilliant place to be, really, when you build it all up. But initially, it was a lot of paid advertising and just online leads and building relationships. And from that point on, it grows further. So now I still do the online advertising, but they also come in from wherever they come from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Brilliant. So I missed Michelle, but I think I know where she was going on the answer to that question. So again, it's brilliant because between the three of you, you've both shown a variety of, you know, offline, online, and doing both. So which is amazing. So my next question to you all is, and this is a big question, really. I have sort of given you some time to think about this before, Paul, so I'm sure you're you're going to be ready with the answer on this one. But if you could give everyone on this call just one tip when it comes to enrolling, what would your top tip be? So, shall we just stay with Kim as the camera is on you, Kim?
Oh, okay then. One good tip, the only real tip I can give is keep on going. If you need more enrollments, get your activity up. Focus on the activities, not on the results. And every day reserve some time to follow up, and build connections.
Great. Can I ask you a few questions about that?
Yeah, go on.
So on your follow-up, because obviously you're mainly doing online. Oh, we've got power again, I think. Brilliant. Because you're mainly doing online, do you find that you get a much better response if your follow-up is sort of on the telephone in opposed to using social media? Do you find it difficult to get people on the end of a telephone, and you're very persistent with it?
Yes, it is more difficult because you have to start a relationship from nothing. So initially, I do build a little bit of relation on Facebook, and I'm not going into details. Then I'm getting over to the WhatsApp, which you already get a little step closer. And then from the WhatsApp onwards, I'm trying to throw hooks of fishing rods at them, really. So offer them a free sample, but I do want to have a phone call with them. And that way, the people, I'm trying to get them to come to me instead of the other way around.
Okay.
Now, I'm not saying that I don't phone the others, but it can be quite frustrating sometimes because you don't get them on the phone. So I'm trying, on top of that, I'm trying to reel them in, try to trigger them with whatever might be working for them. For some it's a sample, for some online class. Are you still there, Lisa?
Yes,
problems?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm still here. Yeah, I'm still here, Jess. Yeah.
You're double logged in. I see. Yeah, I got you. Yeah, so it's it really depends a little bit on the person. I personally really like to connect with people, and I can't do it anywhere else.
Feedback here. Hello.
Hello, Andy.
Yeah. Lisa, are you there?
Yeah, I'm still here. Yeah.
Okay, can you just log in on one device? I think you're logged in on both.
Yeah. I'm just trying to sort it out.
Shall I wait a bit then?
Yeah, I think so. Otherwise, it'll keep reverberating. Hopefully, it'll be a second. We'll see what happens now. I think you should stay logged in on 4G. I don't know about you. It's the best reception we've had for ages. Okay, do you want to carry on?
Hey,
Jen?
yeah.
Do you want to carry on? I think while Lisa's sorting that out.
Yeah, I think I've kind of covered it, but
Okay.
yeah, the most important thing is to whatever you can, whatever way you can, to connect with people, and preferably on the phone. But initially, not everyone is quite ready for that yet. So you have to trigger them with something that they want to speak to you, because you either offer them a sample and then you want to speak to them, or you offer them an online class and you want to speak to them. So that works for me, instead of chasing after them, which I do, but subtly, I think.
How long is your sort of, from the first touch point to where somebody actually ends up enrolling? What's the average, and how long has it actually, the longest ever taken you, sort of, so your persistence has really come good in the end?
Okay, this is going to be very interesting. The fastest one was 5 minutes.
Wow.
The longest one must have been 1.5 years plus. So they are in my pipeline, and they stay in a pipeline until I get a very rock solid no. And even saying that, last month I signed a lady in who said no to me last September, and she came back to me either way.
So when you say never give up,
I literally mean
definitely,
yeah,
that's definitely your mantra.
Yeah, absolutely.
Amazing, brilliant. Yeah. So same question to you, Michelle.
Yeah,
Thank
so
you, Kim.
We tend to, well, I think my tip really first would be to just try and make sure you've got a constant stream of new people to contact. So whether you find them at events that you're doing, or whether you find them through referrals from hosted classes, or whether it's people that you find online, it's just to keep that as a constant stream of people that are coming to you. And we do set a challenge in our team to try and connect with 10 new people a day. And that is quite a challenge, to find 10 people a day. And it's hard to meet that challenge, but that's why it's called a challenge, and it's not easy. But yeah, so it's try and find those people to connect with. And then the connection, it's really just sending them like a little bit of a taster, or even like a bit of a tease really about doTERRA. It might be that we send them a little video, or it might be that we answer a question that they've, a health related question that maybe they've asked on social media, and send them a little bit more information that way. And then as we start to build a relationship up with that person, then we'll invite them to an online class, and then we follow up from the online class. And again, just keeping really good contact with that person. And I've had a very similar experience to Kim, and even just this week I had a girl, and the last time we spoke, because even though I say keep in contact, I'm not messaging these people every week, I'm not pestering them, and there's one girl, and I was in quite regular contact with her all through 2018. She went a bit quiet on me, and so I thought, well, I'm not going to keep pestering her, because she's seen my messages but she's not really replying to them. Left her in there, and then out of the blue, so we've not contacted each other for over 6 months, and out of the blue, last week she messaged just to say, okay, I'm ready, can you enroll me now please? So that's a really nice message to get, but you're not going to get those messages if you're not playing with enough leads. Yeah. So it's finding a way to get that number of leads up, and really challenge yourself on that as to how you're going to increase that number.
People sometimes feel that they're they're not getting the results that they really want. It just purely comes down to the numbers at the end of it, doesn't it? It's just it's just not speaking to enough people, and it can be disheartening, and that's why just actually focusing on that activity is so important. Just focus on the activity and just don't get sort of bogged down by the actual results.
Definitely. I mean, for me personally, we always go by the rule that it takes 3 months to build momentum with this. So we've done it a couple of times now where we built it when we very first started, and we had a couple of months out of the business after a family tragedy, and so we had to build it back up again from that point. I went away to South Africa and we had to build it back up again from that point. So we've done it a few times, and each time it's taken 3 months to build up the momentum where we felt we were enrolling people on a really regular basis. So if you're just at a starting point and you don't start seeing results next week, don't beat yourself up about that, because that is a normal time frame, and you're going to have to keep at it a bit longer than that before you really start seeing the results coming out.
Yeah, brilliant. Thank you, Michelle. And then Sue, more offline. So what in an offline world, what would your top tip be? Thank you for that, Michelle.
Well, I just really echo what Michelle and Kim have just said. I mean, it's the same really, whether it's online or offline. It's about being consistent and persistent and keeping going. One of the things that I've needed to get better at is to keep good records of all these people you're meeting, because as time passes by, you're getting more and more people. So I've started to collate mine in an Excel spreadsheet. I know it sounds a bit techie, and I'm not, but I know lots of people use sort of contact managers and things like that. But it's easy to sort of contact people a few times and then they just got lost into the ether. So it's good to keep that contact going. It does take 3 months, I would agree with that, to see how it's really going to pan out. Are they really going to be on LRP, and how is it going to be? And just to keep going and keep drip feeding people until they do say no, if they do say no. Sometimes I've gone through, and all the people that have shown an interest, every now and then I might send them a little ebook or something like that. You know, there's so much you can do to just keep in touch with people. And I don't go anywhere without my little case. I've got it here. My little case, which has got all my samples and things in. So I should say, go where you normally go, do what you normally do, but take your samples, because all the time you'll be able to give out samples, make connections, invite people to classes, and just be, you know, genuine. I mean, the oils are wonderful. We want people to know about them. So why wouldn't we, you know, spread the word on? We owe it to people really to share the oils with them and for them to learn more about it. And it is just about being consistent, and the fortune is in the follow-up. If you don't follow up, you're going to get nothing.
Yeah. Can we talk just a little bit about hosted classes? Because I know that you do hosted classes, and I think that's something that, you know, for people that are on the call that are interested in the offline world, that's an area that you know, can be explored more, and certainly those hosted classes get great results when it comes to enrolling. I always find, you know, the hosted classes, you have a good percentage of people that will enroll that comes to a hosted class. So maybe you can just talk through how you go about encouraging people to host a class.
Okay, so it's one of the things that mostly comes up when I'm at an event, because quite often people go to an event with their friends. So they're all standing around and they're all doing the peppermint and the wild orange, and oh, I really like that, I'm really interested in that. And if you get a bit of a buzz going, I've always got one of my Perspex signs that says about host a class, and I'll start to chat to them about, well, maybe you'd like to have an essential oils evening. I can come and tell you more about the oils and go through them in a bit more detail. So that's often how I line them up, and offer free oils or some gift. It doesn't have to be anything massive. But that's how I usually line them up.
Yeah, because, you know, the big gift is the education, isn't it? Yeah. So I think sometimes, you know, we feel like we've got to give, you know, but actually what the education that we give actually is very valuable, and in, you know, some places people charge for that. So you're coming along and you're giving that education for free. So that's amazing. Okay, so when I got cut off, I was telling you about the wild orange, wasn't I? Shall I just finish telling you what I was saying? So, you know, when you do this bit in the wild orange experience, and you know, sometimes people go hot and sometimes people go cold, and then like, you have this sort of conversation. I always say to people, I actually ask who's gone hot and who's gone cold. And then I explain to them the reason that some of you have gone hot and some of you have gone cold is because the essential oils work on your on your body to whatever your body needs. So if your body is running too hot, then you're more likely going to feel cold because the body is the oils are normalizing your body to the normal effect. And then people go, oh yeah, you know, I'm menopausal, that'll be why, or you know, people, or I'm always cold, that's why I'm now going hot. And it really is a great way to lead you in then to talk about how the oils work on balancing the body, and then that is how the oils work when you actually take them internally into your body, actually taking the body back to its natural state. So people are always quite intrigued by that explanation. So yeah, so let's move on to, I want to talk a little bit more about online. And yeah, if we can go to Michelle, I'd like, can we just sort of dig in a little bit more deeply into how you actually go from converting that lead? So you've got your lead and you actually you're going to convert them through. So really your system, in as easy and quick way as you could explain it, that it goes from a lead to actually becoming a enrollee.
Yeah, but it's frozen. We're back.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry, it froze for a second then. Yeah, so we take a lead, and then we have a team page, and people will book their lead. So we know what class they're going to attend. We send that person back to them to follow up, and that person follows up the person that they had booked onto a class. And then it's literally a case of finding out if they're ready to enroll right at that point, or whether some more follow-ups need to happen before an enrollment happens. And we really keep it as short and as simple as we can between a lead coming in and somebody enrolling.
Brilliant. Great, thanks, Michelle. Kim, there's a message in the chat for you from Janet. I don't know whether you've seen it. So she's just asking how long it takes, how regularly you're making contact, and what sort of things are you doing to keep contact with your prospects.
Okay, like Michelle touched on, and Sue as well, of course we have at the beginning the system. We send them an email, we invite them onto a class, give them some information, that sort of thing, and then we go on to WhatsApp. Now, if they have been onto a class, you follow up straight after as soon as you can and try to take it from there and wind it down from there, or basically enroll from there. But not everyone, of course, is coming onto a class. So then indeed the recorded version comes in, and unlike Sue, this is they work really well for me. So I've got a recorded class. So everyone that hasn't attended, even though I follow up with them, I do send them recorded video, but I do make sure I first ask them, and when are they going to watch it? So I can follow up with them after again. Now, I think the question is more of the regular content afterwards. So you haven't been able to enroll them right there and then. Now, what I do, for example, I make sure I try my best to get them linked to my Facebook page. So send them an invite, so they stay connected that way with the educational information I put on the page. Now, I also have a group invite prospects to. So the existing team is there, but I also get the prospects in there. So they get free education via that way. Last but not least, I'm sending them an email every month with the new offers, maybe a bit of a recipe or a tip, and I got that from Lisa, a recipe or a more in depth about a certain oil or combination, and that works really well. So thanks, Lisa, for that. I've done it this year for the first time, but beforehand I did do the information email, but not as specific as you advised. So that was brilliant. And I stay in touch, and people come back with questions, and then they come to you, and that's what I like.
Yeah,
I think we all like that. Yeah.
I love the idea of the prospect group, and I think, I mean, it's very, I don't know about you, but sometimes we've got all these different groups going on, and it's sort of like, you know, keeping all the different sort of plates spinning. But I think that is a great idea, because, you know, our tone of voice is going to be different in that group than it's going to be in our customer group, and it's going to be in our builders group. So yeah, I really like that idea.
Okay.
Thank you, Kim.
You're welcome.
And so I'll ask you a question on that. So and so you've got them in your prospect group. So then obviously when they enroll, you take them out of that group and you put them into now your customer group, or how do you manage all of that?
Well, this is something I tested and trialed. My customer and prospect is in the same group, but the builders, I've got a separate group for that. So I do hint a little bit about the business side of things.
Yeah.
But the heavy stuff, let's say, is in the
builders group.
Yeah.
But they go into a prospect group before they go into the customer group, do they? While they're still waiting, or you're just putting them all into this customer group?
Yeah. I've got them. I've got them combined there. So they get an.
So they're getting all the resources that a customer would get.
Yeah, what a customer would get, but I do send emails as well with information to people actually enrolling, so they do get a little bit extra on that side of it. But yeah, technically, what I post in that group is for everyone accessible, because it's all about oils, about lifestyle, about other things you can come up with, and I'm hoping to get a taste of how the general group setting is like. And that seems to work really well, as long as you don't dive in too deep and too heavy about the business side of things.
Yeah, sounds great. Brilliant. Thank you. So Michelle, you're saying you do the same as Kim. Are you talking about the actual groups there?
Yeah, so we have what we call a community group that any prospects or customers are in, and our wellness advocates are in there as well. Just to answer questions and offer support and put posts in there. And then we have what we call our leaders and builders group, which is for people that want to either share or build a business.
Great. Okay, I'm gonna put you all on the spot now with one last question. Would you like to share what your ambition for this year is going to be?
Our ambition this year is my ambition this year is to do the same as last year and continue the same rate of bringing people in. But one thing I want to do more of, because I touched on a couple of times last year, is I find that if you can get in front of people, it doesn't necessarily have to be in a class situation. So one thing I'm going to be looking at is getting into some women's institute groups. So that's one of the things I want to get, because I've did a couple of things like that last year, and they turned out to be very good and led to other things. So I think that could be a really good finding activity. So that's one thing that I'm going to, I don't know if any of the others have done that kind of thing, but I think that could be really good. So yeah, so that's what I'm going to be looking at, increasing the numbers with that.
Fantastic. Thank you, Sue. And for you, Kim?
My goal, well, I was going to do it at the beginning of the year already, as you know, Lisa, but I want to dip my toes into the real classes and do Diamond Club. That's my goal this year. So I'm going to prepare for it, get the leaders now in the right positions. And then it's September, I think it starts again, isn't it?
Yes, yeah.
Going for it.
Fantastic.
That's my goal.
Brilliant. We'll look forward to hearing all about that.
Yep, me
Great.
too.
And Michelle, you've already had an amazing year, but I'm sure you've got lots of goals.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit hard to put one on for like events and things because we're just not having events here ourselves, and because it's so much focused on the growth in South Africa. So our goal is to help our leaders to also take some of those founder spots that are still available.
Brilliant.
So our goal is to help support them with the events that they're running the best that we can.
Yeah, fantastic. Okay, so I'm sure that there's lots of great information that you've all. Let me just have a quick look to see if there's anything that's been asked that we haven't covered. So Janet says she's doing a talk at the WI group next month. Oh, we'll have you on then, Janet, afterwards. You can tell us all about that. Yeah, go for Diamond Cup. It's amazing. So brilliant. I hope that there's lots of great information there for you to take away. I'm sorry about all the gremlins tonight. Thank you for bearing with us, but I'm sure thank you for the three of you holding it all together while everything was chaos this end. Brilliant, lots of great information and a really great call, so thank you for that. Andy, have you got any closing remarks that you want to share? Or
Yeah, just quickly, next week we have the wonderful Rachel Pernack-Brennan.
Ooh, brilliant.
Going to be talking to you. You probably saw, many of you would have seen Rachel before Christmas. She's got a wealth of knowledge and information about aromatherapy, and she runs training classes. Many of you know this anyway, and she's going to be coming on next week. Do have a look out and keep a lookout in social media, because she will be asking you questions on what you want to talk about again. Okay, so make sure you do answer and interact with that to get the best call for next Monday evening. So I think that's pretty much it. Are you all pretty much done, Lisa?
Yeah, that's brilliant. And you can see, ladies, some great responses coming in the chat there. So people showing their appreciation that they've learnt so much on this short call. So again, thank you so much for being so open and sharing all your great tips with everyone tonight. Been brilliant.
Fantastic. And obviously the recording should be out hopefully tomorrow at some point, and we'll post those in the appropriate groups. So thanks everybody for your contributions this evening. Absolutely brilliant, everybody. And we'll see you all next Monday evening.
See you next week. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Good evening. Bye.
Bye. Thank you. Bye.
Bye, everyone.